guys! Today's video is all about the left hand technique for cello, and I know that I've talked about this topic in other videos, but I wanted to give you a concise overview in one video. Also, I apologize for the noise in the background. There's some construction being done, so hopefully it doesn't interrupt the video too much. The position of the left hand is where the palm faces towards the floor, and so the fingers curve like this, where the fingertips are pointing that way, and we have a nice pronated hand. Here's what we call supination, and here's what we call pronation. The left hand and the right hand should mirror each other, and so because the right hand should be pronated at least slightly, so should the left hand, and so this is where we get this kind of shape. The important thing about the left hand is that you want to play with curved fingers. Some people overdo it and end up playing on the soft part underneath their fingernail, which does not give a good sound, and it's painful. I don't even know how some people do that. They overdo it like this. What we want to do is just play with the pad of our finger. And my fingernails are too long right now. I need to cut them, but yes, if your fingernails are too long, this is not going to work well, so be sure to keep them trimmed. The main thing is to just keep your fingers curved, but not to the extreme, and it should just make a nice C like this, and keep it like this. And you will develop calluses on the tips of your fingers, so if it hurts, I'm sorry, that's just the price you have to pay, but eventually you will develop calluses and it'll become easier. I've been receiving a lot of comments on YouTube actually of how beginner cellists are getting frustrated with having a screeching sound. And there really is no way to avoid this at first. That's just the plight of the beginner. Eventually you learn to work through it, and there are a lot of different things that can contribute to that screeching noise. One of the biggest ones is not pressing hard enough with your left hand. But I don't really like the word press because it implies that you're tight and there's a lot of tension. So press isn't really a good word. I like to think of it as sinking in. So if you sink in with your left hand, it's just the same as sinking in with your bow. You get a better, more rich and full sound and less of a tight, constrained sound. And so if you sink in with your left hand, you're gonna get a better, fuller sound. Now the key to sinking in without a lot of tension is to remember the release. And I've said this before, for every action, there's a reaction. For every time that you push or pull something, there's always going to be a reaction of release. If there's not that release, then you're going to experience a lot of tension. One of the exercises that I often give my students is a finger tapping exercise where all you have to do, you don't need your bow, you just tap a very quick, rapid tap. And obviously whenever you're playing, you don't necessarily want people to hear your left hand tapping that hard, but this kind of gives you that sensation of, okay, I'm releasing power through my fingers, but I also have to release that tension. I have to let it up. And so that's one exercise that you can try. Just go through all 4 fingers in time, not too fast, and do it on all the strings without the bow. Also, I find that a lot of my students have the most trouble with their 4th finger, sometimes their 3rd finger as well, and that's completely natural. The 4th finger is naturally very weak, and there are of course more exercises that you can do to help with this. I think the finger tapping should help, and if you have ever seen one of those little squeezy things, I don't even know what they're called, but you squeeze them to build the hand muscles, and instead of putting one in the palm of your hand, just put it where the fingertips are so that you can just work the muscles in your fingertips, or muscles in your fingers. I received another good question on YouTube from someone who was having trouble finding first position, and this is a very, very common struggle. You would think, oh, first position, this is the most basic thing, it's the easiest, but first position is actually one of the hardest to get in tune. So the trick to helping with first position and kind of getting it solidified in your nervous system of how to find it, there are 2 good ways to do this. And the first one is to take your left hand away and then put it down and see if it's in the right place. If you play it and it's out of tune, see, that was sharp. And instead of fixing it right then, leave your finger there, kind of realize, okay, that's not right. Take your hand away, give it a second, put it back up, see if this is right, and that's right. And if you can get it right 5 times in a row, then you will do better finding first position whenever you're in a hurry and it's the beginning of a passage and you can't get it wrong. So it's just a good exercise to practice. Another exercise is going from open to 1 through all of the strings. And one thing I'm guilty of is whenever I do this, my fingers like to huddle up to support finger 1, but that's bad, so don't do that. You want finger 1 to be able to stand on its own, and if you do this exercise often enough, your first finger will just get accustomed. Okay, this is where first finger is in first position, and first finger is your anchor finger. If you can get first finger down, all of the other fingers will follow suit. So those are the basics, and hopefully I answered a lot of the questions that I've been receiving. If I didn't, please let me know and I will make a part 2 to this video. So yes, ask any questions that you ever have. I'm always happy to answer, and thank you for watching. I certainly hope that this video helps you.